What's up, it's Jay Westman here from LazyAssStoner.com, and for years now I've been building simple but ridiculously profitable affiliate websites that make me tons of money. And one of the questions that I constantly get from both newbie and more experienced affiliate marketers is, what's the best way to find a low competition, kick-ass niche that's both extremely profitable but also really easy to rank for in the search engines? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So choosing the right niche before you start out is so important, and it can literally make the difference between making a ton of money and making no money at all. Basically, what we want to do is find a niche that matches 3 different criteria. And the first criteria is that you want your niche to actually be getting searched for in the search engines. Because if nobody is actually typing your niche into Google, then no matter how good you are at getting your site to rank, you still won't get any traffic because nobody's even looking for your niche. So to make sure that people are in fact searching for your niche in the search engines, you want to use what is called a keyword tool. Now, if you're unfamiliar with keyword tools, they're very simple. They're just online tools that allow you to type in a word or phrase and see roughly how many times that word or phrase gets searched for in the search engines each month. So if I want to see how many people search for silly cats in Google every month, I would use a keyword tool to find out. Now, there are a bunch of keyword tools out there, but the one that I recommend and use myself is called the Google Keyword Planner, and it's completely free to use. So to access the tool, first just head over to google.com/AdWords. Then create a free account if you haven't already got one. Then once you're logged in, head over to the Tools and Analysis section and then click on the Keyword Planner link. Then once you're in the Keyword Planner, you can just type in whatever your niche idea is and hit the Get Ideas button, and it'll tell you roughly how many times that word or phrase gets searched for in Google each month. Plus, it'll also show you a bunch of other related terms as well as how many times they get searched too. So here's one of my sites that I set up that targets the keyword mentalism, which is a type of magic that magicians do where they pretend like they can read people's minds. The site currently ranks in the top spots of Google for a whole bunch of mentalism related keywords, including mentalism, mentalism tricks, learn mentalism, mentalism books, and more. And all of these rankings result in thousands of visitors every day to the site, which means that tons of people click on my affiliate links, which means that I'm making tons of commissions round the clock from this simple site. But before I set up that site, you can bet your ass I googled mentalism in the Google Keyword Planner tool to make sure that it was in fact getting searches. So I just typed in mentalism into the keyword tool, I hit Get Ideas, and then I saw that about 8,100 people each month search for mentalism in Google. I also looked at the related keywords to see what other mentalism related keywords people were searching for, and it's no coincidence that I have a page about each of these keywords on my site. So, exactly how many searches do you want your niche to get each month? Well, there's really no exact number to go for, but I know people love exact numbers so that they can follow this stuff to the T, and I get it. So what I'll say is look for a niche that has no less than 1,000 searches a month and no more than 50,000 searches a month. And if this is your first site, then I recommend trying to stick below 15,000 searches a month, because generally the less searches a niche gets, the less competition there'll be in Google, and the easier it'll be for you to rank for that term. Which brings me to the second criteria that you should be looking for in your niche. And that is a niche that doesn't have a lot of competition in the search engines. So one of the things that I see a lot of newbies making is picking ridiculously competitive niches. And hell, I even made this mistake when I first started out too. And trust me, I know the deal. You see all of these ads all over the web for poker and forex and weight loss, and you think, well shit, that must be where the money's at. But trust me, it is way, way, way easier to pick low competition niches and make money from the low hanging fruit. And by this, I mean choosing random and obscure niches that most people would never think of and that have hardly any competition in the search engines, so that you have a really easy time ranking for those niches. So basically, you want to think really outside of the box when coming up with a niche. Don't just go with what everyone else is doing. Find a niche that nobody is talking about. For example, when I first started, I also made the rookie mistake of going after a super competitive niche because I thought that's where the money is at. I set up a site targeting poker tips because that had never been done before. I then spent hours and hours and hours grinding away, busting my ass, writing these boring ass poker articles, and then just waiting for the money to roll in. And spoiler, it never did. The niche was just too competitive. Google poker tips and you'll see 27 million results and page after page after page of high authority, well-established sites that have been around forever targeting this niche, and it's just completely saturated. It wasn't until I started to aim for niches with far less competition that I really started to get somewhere. In fact, one of my first big breaks was when I created a website to promote bongs and vaporizers and hookahs and all kinds of stuff that stoners would love. At the time, there was hardly anyone promoting that stuff, and I had a really easy time ranking for all of these keywords. And then I started to make a ton of money. But please don't take this to mean that you should now go out and build up a cannabis related site, because since I outed that niche and have been talking about that, I first started revealing that niche years ago, everyone's gone out and done it. It's getting saturated. Go out and pick a niche that nobody is talking about. Don't be a sheep. Don't just copy my results. Listen to what I am actually saying. Choose a niche that nobody is talking about. Choose something I'm not talking about, other affiliate marketers aren't talking about, people aren't talking about on the forums. So how can you actually work out how competitive a niche is? Well, you just simply Google it and look at the results that turn up. If you see page after page after page after page of high authority sites that obviously know what they're doing, have a big following, are really established, and are targeting your exact niche idea, then it's probably not the best niche to go after. But if you see things like random Facebook pages and Instagram accounts and Pinterest accounts and random pages from other sites that happen to be ranking for that term, then that's a very good sign. Also, take a look at the number of results that turn up. So if there's only 1 or 2 million or even less results, then that's a very good sign. It might sound like a lot, but it really isn't in the land of the internet. If your niche has hundreds of millions of results though, that's a pretty bad sign. So if we go back to my mentalism site example and we type in mentalism into Google to see what the competition is like, which I would have done before setting up this site, you can see that there's not a lot of results, with just over 1 million results turning up when I Google mentalism. But more importantly, there's a serious lack of sites about mentalism that turn up on the first few pages of Google. On page 1, there's a couple of Wikipedia articles about mentalism. there's a WikiHow article about mentalism, and there's even some random Facebook page turning up on page 1. The point is that not one of these sites is a single whole site dedicated to the topic of mentalism, which is why I had such an easy time ranking for it. These are the kinds of niches that you want to go for. Now, getting a sense of exactly how competitive a niche is something that you really get better at the more you do it. And it's almost more of an art than a science. You've just got to practice looking at niches and comparing them, and you'll soon develop a sense of how competitive a niche is by looking at the results that are in Google. Another thing I should mention is even if there are a few quality results in the search engines, it doesn't mean that you should just cross that niche off the board completely. You can still rank for and make money from niches that have a few competitors. In fact, it's pretty unlikely that you'll ever find a niche with 0 competitors. The point is you just want to look for niches with little competition. The internet and the world is big enough for lots of people to make money from the same niche. So don't freak out if there's a couple of authority sites out there. Do freak out if there are thousands. And finally, the third criteria that you want to look for in your niche is a niche where people actually buy stuff. So don't set up a website about funny cat videos or free wallpapers, because hardly anyone's going to buy anything, and it's going to be super hard for you to actually make any decent money. Instead, choose something that's based around a specific product or niche where people actually buy stuff online. Rocket science, right? So, for example, after I learnt the hard way that my poker site was never going to get anywhere, I decided to go the route of choosing something with a lot less competition. So, I settled on how to make a bong. I targeted a whole bunch of how to make a bong keywords, like how to make an apple bong, how to make a beer bong, all that kinds of stuff. And since this niche did meet the first 2 criteria, which is that it had tons of people searching for it, and it had little competition in Google, I had a really easy time getting my site to rank for all of these terms, and I started to get several hundred visitors a day on autopilot. The problem was, there was no real product that I could actually promote to them that they would want to buy. I tried to put up ads for bong stores, and even though I would sell the odd bong here and there, most people were very uninterested in those ads because they're searching for how to make a bong, which means they want one for free. You don't search for that if you have the money to buy a bong. Most of the people finding my site were probably just broke-ass college students wanting a cheap homemade bong. So even though my site was at the top of the search engines, and even though I was getting several hundred visitors a day on autopilot, my site was barely making $20 a month. But I learnt my lesson the hard way, and then I went about setting up sites that not only got searched in Google, that not only had low competition, but that people would actually buy shit. I set up sites targeting stuff like bongs for sale, hookahs for sale, and I was quickly blown away at how much more money I was making from the same amount of traffic or less. So if I go back to my mentalism site, I knew that it was a market where people bought stuff online. I knew that there were mentalism books that sold well on Amazon that I could promote, and I knew that there was a product over on the clickbank.com affiliate network for a mentalism course that I could promote that converted well. Furthermore, I knew that by targeting things like mentalism books and learn mentalism, that this would be the exact demographic that was looking to buy this kind of stuff. So when you're choosing a niche, make sure to also think about how you're going to make money from it, and don't just make it an afterthought. So to sum up, you want to find a niche that 1. Gets a decent number of searches in Google each month, 2. That has little competition in the search engines, and 3. That people actually buy stuff and that there are affiliate products for that niche that you can promote. But before I finish this video, there's just one more thing that I really want to explain, because it seems that a lot of people are really getting stuck with this whole choosing a niche thing. And that thing is, there is no ultimate perfect niche. So yes, you should find a niche that matches all three of the criteria that I've just given you so that you have the highest chance of success. But at the end of the day, you'll never truly know exactly how well a niche is going to do until you just try it. I've chosen niches in the past that I thought were going to kill it, that didn't do as well as I thought they would. And on the other hand, I've chosen niches that I was a bit meh about that absolutely dominated and made me a shitload of money. So don't be afraid to get a bit crazy and try some out there niches that nobody's talking about, because in my experience, the safe niches aren't all that safe. People seem to be scared to try out niches that they don't see other people promoting. They wait until they see videos like the ones that I make or other people or other bloggers and then just copy their niches, which is the total wrong way to go about it. Pick your own obscure niche that nobody knows about, make money from it, and keep your lips sealed. And don't get hung up on exact numbers either. Yes, you want to try to find a niche that gets searched a good number of times, and yes, you want to try to find a niche that has a low number of competitors, but don't get hung up on exact numbers and should I go with a site with 1 million or 2 million or 45 competitors or 20? Just don't. For example, you might find a niche that gets less than the 1,000 searches a month minimum that I recommended to you before, but maybe that niche has so little competition and the products are worth $500 each that it's worth setting up anyway. There's no hard and fast rules to this stuff. What I've given you are general guidelines to go by, but don't let yourself get hung up on any of these rules, because spending endless time searching for the ultimate perfect niche will just leave you getting nowhere. Do your research as best as you can. Pick something and run with it. Worst case scenario is you do make the unfortunate mistake of picking a niche that just sucks. So what? You will learn so much from that your next site will be so much better, I guarantee it. So once you've got your niche, you want to set up a site and dominate search. And if you're watching this from my newbie crash course, then that's exactly what I'll be showing you how to do next. Or if you're not watching this from my free crash course for newbies, then you can get your hands on it by clicking here or heading over to lazyaskdonut.com/newbie. It's a short but straight to the point crash course where I show you exactly how to set up profitable niche sites. Peace out, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.